Hey folks, I'm Blake Flannery. Again, one of the primary instructors with Orion Training Group and the CEO of Maneuver Training Solutions. And right now we're here at Ben Franklin Range inside their two-story shoot house. And we're gonna talk about white lights and how to sustain them. So keeping them on your kit, keeping them powered, handling anytime anything breaks, and just trying to keep your equipment lasting for as long as possible. Again, these are considerations. These are based off of what I did for my 20 years where I was active duty in the Marine Corps, and what I've been doing since retiring with the Marine Corps with open enrollment training and working for some government folks, training them up. And you'll also see that a lot of these things are principle based and they carry over to other aspects of your equipment. All right, so the first thing that we want to talk about is how you store your lights on you and on your kit. Now, when it comes to something like a blaster, that's pretty simple. It's on the blaster, it's there, it shouldn't be going anywhere. When it comes to the rifle, one of the things that you also want to potentially look at is dummy cording. And dummy cording is taking a piece of paracord, securing that, anchoring it to an item like your white light or a laser or an optic, and then anchoring that to a hard point on the rifle. That is typically a really good idea when you're moving through incredibly thick vegetation, or if you're the kind of person that has to swim into missions. However, if you set the screws real tight, especially if you set them to torque settings, and you'll use a little bit of thread locker, that alleviates a lot of that concern of that item backing off and potentially falling off. One of the things that I do periodically as I'm making movement is I will reach down and touch the items on my kit to make sure that they're still there. So I have that warm fuzz that they are in fact still there. Moving on to handheld lights, there's a multitude of places you can carry your handheld light. What's going to influence exactly where you carry it is going to be based upon, is that a tertiary lighting source for you? Or if you go to your sidearm, do you need that handheld white light? So if you need that handheld white light, if you're going to go to your pistol, then you want it somewhere where it's quick to access, and then you want it set up so it's easy to access, something like one of these theorem rings. Now you can DIY these. You don't have to have a manufactured product, but generally speaking, if it's made manufactured, it's been thought out and it's going to work pretty well. And then when it's stowed, you want to be able to easily stow it back into that spot. So for right now, I've got it tucked into this wing pouch. Depending on my kit setup, it will be tucked into here, or on some of my placards, they have a built-in elastic band that's meant for a tourniquet retention. But since I carry my tourniquets in these pouches, I will put my tertiary light down here below the cummerbund in that elastic sleeve. So it's nice and secure, and it is relatively safe from being ripped out. Having to scale walls in the urban environment, if you do shipboarding and you're going to be fast roping or climbing ladders up the side of the vessel, you definitely want active retention on your stuff. So that's going to be the ultimate way to make sure it stays retained. You want to make sure that you're not going to be inadvertently activating the light on your equipment. One of the things you can do to mitigate that is you can actually back off your battery cap or tail cap until you can no longer activate the light. I just try to carry it in a position where I am not going to set it off, and then carrying it in a position to where that cap is as concealed as possible to mitigate that light spill. If you do white light ND, will also help you with compromising your position if you inadvertently activate that light. So with that and the helmet, if it's something that just Velcros on, then that will be a good idea to carry that in a pocket or a separate pouch so it doesn't just get ripped off and now you've lost your light. That's the basics and things you want to consider when you are looking at how exactly you store all of your lights on your kit. And having one on your rifle, having one on your pistol, if you're someone that runs a bucket, which if you're running all this, you most likely do, have it on your bucket, even mitigates the need to have a handheld anyways, which then simplifies the need of where do I put my handheld. Whatever makes sense for you, that's what you roll with. All right, so now we've talked about how to store our lights. How do we keep them powered? Well, you put batteries in them. The smartest thing is that before you go out on an operation, you make sure you've got fresh batteries in your stuff. Now, depending on your job description, that before you go out could be days later, you're still out and you still need to make sure that your light is being powered. So there's a multitude of ways that you can carry batteries, and I'm gonna cover a handful of them. So one thing I've done, and this is a very administrative thing, is I just took a laser rangefinder case because I carry the laser rangefinder elsewhere, and because I don't like throwing out pieces of equipment, I have just put these battery holders inside this case. So I've got AA's, 123s, and some 9 volts. And this actually goes in my range bag. So the 9 volts are for my shot timer, and the rest of these batteries will power my optics and other things that I carry with me in my range bag. Another kind of administrative thing, this is made by Pinewood Machining, and it's just a little 3D printed, and it gives me 4 123s, 2 each of AA's, and 2 each of AA's. Right? Again, just something that I can throw into a range bag or a kit bag. Now, something that I would carry out with me would be something like this Theorem, I think it's called their cell vault. Now, the cool thing about this is if you wanted to, you can attach this to your equipment. I would not carry this like on my fighting load. It's a bit excessive for that, but this would be part of my assault load, which could be anything from a back panel to a small pack to even like a 2-day style pack. And in here I carry AA's, some more lithium 123s, and some lithium 2032s that power various devices that I carry out. Now, something I will carry on me is this little guy, and I don't even remember who makes it, where it's from, but you can find these on Amazon. Pretty neat. They come apart into pairs, and for the most part, I have these set up, paired up between lithium 123s and lithium AA's. I will either carry in a calf pocket, I can put it in a sleeve pocket, I can carry this on a pouch on my fighting load, or I can carry it in a fanny pack, so that way I've got batteries that I need. I will typically do the 4 AA's because that's how many batteries go into the remote battery pack for my nods. So that's my hot swap for my night vision, and then the 123s because that is my light, my laser, and my EOTech. All right, all 4, all swapped out. One more thing with this, so where I carry all the batteries in these containers is I carry the little positive end, the nipple or the tit down, because they're down to power my optics. And then when I swap out a battery, I would then replace it and put nipple up because that battery has gone tits up on me and no longer works. So I know, don't use that one anymore. So that's just my little process for how I manage the batteries in the different holders, so I know the difference between a good battery and a not so good battery. You can also, if you got your ruck or your pack, you can just bury them in the bottom of the pack and not put them back in this holder, and that's another way of ensuring you don't try to use that battery again. All right, there's a lot of different things that are out there that you can use to carry batteries. You can even go as simple as wrapping up your various types of batteries in a little bit of 100-mile-an-hour tape, which is a fancy, more military term for green duct tape, and put those in different spots of your equipment. Batteries are pretty generally resistant. You don't necessarily need to waterproof them. I kind of like making them a little water resistant, but again, you don't really have to. So if they get rained on, not a big deal. I've swam batteries in and then I just wipe them off before I put them into an optic if that becomes necessary. But then becoming intimately familiar with how batteries come out of your different devices. So can you change the battery, in your night vision without having to take it off? Can you change the batteries in your comm headsets without taking it off? In the lights and optics on your rifle without needing to turn on any other light source and almost on the fly. Being able to know your kit that well can be incredibly beneficial, because even though we op check our stuff, sometimes, right, through complacency or laziness, or just sometimes through mechanical error, that thing suddenly stops working and it no longer has the power you need it. So you need to change it out now, and you don't have time for an admin pause. So that will also play into why you want some batteries to be quick access, not immediate emergency life-saving access, right? Quick access, so you get to it and change it out. And then some things are in a place where it doesn't even need to be immediate, and you can change out those batteries when there's a free moment. Your buddies can pull security for you while you change out those batteries. Let's talk a little bit really quick about cable management when it comes to setting up our lights and stuff on your blaster. Now, if you don't like running a remote switch, super easy. There are no cables to manage. Congratulations, you've won. Now, if you're like me and you like running remote switches, now you have to figure out how you're going to manage that cable. Really, one of the most basic and rudimentary ways that you can do that would be some rubber bands, and you put them around the rifle. Another way, and kind of the way I've done it here, is with this heat wrap. So thin rail heats up when I shoot, and hurts my little hands and it's a little uncomfortable, so I put the rail wrap on here to mitigate some of that heat. But it also helps me control the cable just with the cord that comes over the top. It secures the rail, and depending on the length of the rail, the positioning of the wrap, you can actually have the cord behind the rail wrap, and then it comes out right where the light body is. And that's how it looks on some of my other rifles that have longer handguards. All right, guys, so now let's talk about what do we do in case things break. If something happens while you're in the middle of it all, if all of your lights are from the same maker, then those parts are potentially interchangeable. So if you have the same company pistol light and rifle light, and you take a tumble down a hill and your rifle light smashes into a rock or something and breaks up, no good anymore. Well, you can take the bezel off of your pistol light potentially and replace your rifle light. That is another reason to look at why you want to have some of that redundancy in your light. Okay, hey guys, that wraps up our video talking about how we sustain our white lights while we're afield. Hopefully what you took away from this video is that it's important to do your pre-mission, in-mission, and post-mission checks of your equipment to always make sure it's there and working for you. Also, your consistency of brand between lights can play in your favor when it comes to replacing things and keeping up the most important lights you have in the field without carrying a bunch of extra annoying spare parts, just by cannibalizing something that is of a lower priority. And of course, none of this really matters if you don't get out and train with your gear. You have to get out and use your equipment. And it doesn't need to be some crazy scenario. You can do this stuff. You're already in your mom's basement, so take advantage of that and use your stuff. Test things out, run around with your kit, and then go meet people and get out in the woods, run around with your kit, and link up with professionals, because you can only learn so much through a YouTube video. Link up with professionals who can show you some more, teach you some more. You can talk to them and pick their brains. And when you go out and take class, you meet other people of like-minded, you build your network, and we gradually create community and wind up with a better America than we have right now, just through playing with white lights. So thanks for watching this video, and we'll catch you on the next one.